Happy Cyber Monday. I know you've probably already heard the news. If you saw it this morning, that Tim Holtz and Simon Says Stamp have collaborated and are offering this adorable Walter, the Christmas Penguin die set. So you get the dies to make Walter, and then he has several different pieces of apparel that you can put on him if you'd like. And so this adorable die set is free with the purchase of $25 or more of Tim Holtz branded products from Simon Says Stamp. So this is exclusive to Simon Says Stamp. You can't get it anywhere else, but if you order $25 or more of Tim Holtz branded products, this die will automatically be put in your order through December as long as supplies last. And if my memory serves me correctly, the last couple of Decembers, supplies have only lasted the first few weeks. So you'll want to be sure that you get a hold of a Walter die if you think he's as cute as I do. Now, when I was looking at Walter, I was trying to decide what I was going to make. I came up with 3 ideas, and those 3 ideas incorporate the following dies. Don't know if I'm going to do one of them or all 3 of them, but as of the making of this, these are the dies that I'm considering using in my 3 projects. The first one is the Trimmetry Colorize, and that is number 666332. I've seen so many people making amazing things with this Trimmetry Colorize die, and so I used it not as a colorize. I just used the tree shape when I made it with the postage stamp card. So I'll try and put a picture of that in right now. And so this time I actually want to use the whole tree and the baubles and everything. So I want to use the whole thing. So I'm looking forward to that. Also, this is the Forest Shadows die set. This is 666334. And this die set has 2 tree lines in it and then these little sparkles. So I'm looking forward to using this, and I've seen this used a lot this season as well. This is certainly a fun one, and many people have used it. I'm not going to use it as a card back or a back. If I use it, my plan for using it is probably that I may use it with the Colorize project, the Trimmetry project. So I may be using this. And then this one, I don't know if it's going to work. I should have kind of probably looked before I tried. But anyway, I just thought it would be super cute. I had a song running through my head. Thought it would be cute to use Walter with this set. And again, I don't know if this is going to turn out, but it's an option. And you know, it's always good to have options, right? When you are making. So those are the 3 things I'm planning to use at some point, maybe with Walter, if it works out. And as of the videotaping of this, I'm really not sure what I'm going to make. But you know what? Let's just go ahead and get started. So let's get making. I began by taking a piece of watercolor cardstock and I'm spraying it with water and then some iced spruce distress spray stain and a little bit of phantom mist mica spray stain. Then a little bit more water, and I'm going to dry that. And this is going to be the darker of 2 grays that I'm going to be die cutting later on. This is another piece of distressed watercolor cardstock, and again with a tiny bit of ice spruce and a little bit of Lost Shadow distress spray stain. And then some more phantom mist mica stain and water, and then I dried it. The third piece I am coloring blue, so I'm doing some water and then weathered wood distress spray stain. And then I'm coming in with winter frost mica stain and juniper berry mica stain. So this is going to be the inside of a vignette box that I'll show you in a minute. And then for the last one, I decided to take some distress resist spray, and I'm going to flick it on that piece of watercolor cardstock before I color it. So I'm just getting some droplets, little tiny droplets all over the back of that piece of paper, and I want it nice and dry. And then I'm going in with some Weatherwood Distress spray stain, a little bit of water, and then the Winter Frost mica stain, and again with the Juniper Berry mica stain. So the same colors as the piece before, but this one has that resist spray stain that I put on there first. And then once I get the stain dry, I sprayed some water on a rag And I went through and I wiped the stain off of the resist droplets, and it looks like a snowy background. Now I cut the first two gray pieces out of the Forest Shadows die, and those are going to go on that snowy background. So I measured the inside of a small square vignette box. I cut my background to fit the sides and the top and the back. And so I'm attaching everything with Distress Collage Medium. So I'm putting that first set of darker gray foreshadow trees in the back. And now you're going to see me putting the sides and the top into the box so that it looks like there is sky all around. I am not putting any of that blue paper on the bottom because, as you can see, I just put a piece of plain watercolor cardstock on the bottom because it's supposed to represent snow. And then I just put the plain blue paper that I colored first on the very top for the sky on the top. Now this is the lighter of the grays that I cut with the forest shadows, and I'm just putting a little bit of foam tape on the back, making sure that it fits because the die is longer than the small vignette box. I have another sheet, a half sheet of the Distress Watercolor cardstock. I've sprayed it with iced spruce and frosted juniper mica stain, and then dried that. And I'm going to use that as the outside of my box. So I again measured the outside and I cut the pieces that I just colored so that it would fit around the outside of the box. And now I'm going to emboss with the Pine Branches 3D embossing folder. And so I'm going to be just putting those pieces that will go along the outside edge and on the back in as I'm showing you, and I emboss them. Now that's the back side. I've taken a sanding disc and I'm sanding off some of that mica stain and letting the watercolor cardstock reveal so it looks a little bit like snow. And I did that for the sides as well. And now I'm taking more collage medium and I'm attaching the papers to the outside of the vignette box. Once it was adhered and dried, I sanded around the outside edges of that back piece. And then what I didn't show you at the beginning was that I embossed both corners, but when I embossed the second corner, it flattened out the first one mostly, but there was still an image. And so once it was adhered to the box, I was able to go ahead and sand that a little bit and get some of the pine branches to show through. Now, at this point, I'm realizing that the 1 inch that I cut these strips was just a little too thin. And so I have a little bit of wood showing on both sides of the edges. And I just decided to go ahead and live with it. I didn't want to redo everything and try and get the color to match and all that. So I just decided it was fine and not to worry about it. I was going to sand everything anyway, so it's all good. So I went ahead and added each of those and then trimmed them, and then I went ahead and sanded around those as well. I grabbed some of the thin design tape from, I think it was Christmas 2022, and I always put a little bit of collage medium on the front lip of the vignette boxes, and that's how I adhere the thin design tape like you see me doing right now. It just makes sure that it stays in place and it doesn't peel up later on. I think that looks really cute. I love it. I took some black distress spray stain and I colored a piece of watercolor cardstock with the black soot and water and then dried it. And then I took two smaller pieces and used a little bit of black soot and some water to make a lighter version of the black cardstock so that I had two colors of black for my penguins. The rest of the penguins I cut out with the white watercolor cardstock. And here you see me using scattered straw distress ink to color the beaks for each of my penguins. And then I also colored the necks on the white part of the penguins, because the pictures of the penguins I saw, they had yellow around their necks, kind of on their face also where their beaks were. And then I went around both of those white layers with Lost Shadow Distress ink. And now I'm ready to put them together. So I take the main body piece and I lined it up onto the base piece. And they're both black, so you don't really see a lot of difference. But I'm pointing out that I am sticking the feet on now. And the feet, you will notice, are that lighter black color that I did second because the penguins I saw had black feet, and so I made mine with black feet also. Now I am putting on that highlight portion, so this is that lighter black cardstock that I made, and that's going to go on the top and on the little arms or wings of the penguin. Now I'm going to begin to add the face and the stomach of each penguin. And so I punch out the eyes. You want to make sure that the eyes are punched out, and you start with the solid stomach and face and attach that. I lined it up with the top highlight and also with the embossed areas. And then you add the part with the little tummy highlight. And then you're going to see me pause here because I suddenly realize that my image is backwards from the artwork, and I'm wondering how I messed that up. So that was kind of a funny moment, and I just figured I'm just going to keep going. But then because I paused, I got the beak upside down, and I just realized that all of a sudden, and then I had to turn it around and fix it. So that's what all was occurring right here in my confusion. But I decided to just press on and keep going. And my little Walter turned out just adorable and exactly the way I wanted. So now I'm going to show you how I made the snow penguin. And I cut everything out of the distressed watercolor cardstock and left it white. And then I just went around the edge of every single piece with tumbled glass distress ink. And so you see me doing that right now. I'm making sure that I'm going around every single piece with that tumbled glass. And then I take the base piece, and just like I did before, I put the main body piece on top of the base piece. But I decided before I did that I wanted my eyes to look like coal. So I took a black marker and I tried to make sure that I colored it in the right area just to get the eyes in the right spot. And there I am attaching the body. And so these don't line up exactly because you see the layers and it was designed that way. So you will see, some of the pieces below it shining through and or showing through, and that also helps with the tumbled glass ink around the edges. It on this one especially, I think it really adds to the feeling that is a little ice or snow penguin. So this was fun to do. So I went ahead and did every single part. So I put all the little feet on, I put all the layers, and I even put both pieces of the beak on. So once that was all adhered together, I wanted to make it look snowy. So I took my snowfall grit paste and I pounced it all over with my finger and set it aside to dry. And then I took a palette knife and I added snowflake uh, snowfall grit paste all over on the bottom where I had just put that piece of watercolor paper. Then with my finger, I added some to the forest shadow trees in the back. And I also used my palette knife just to try and get it on the edges where I thought snow would fall. And then I kind of set that aside to dry just a little bit. And while that was drying, I took out my distressed watercolor pencil palette and my water brush, and I colored in all the little accessories that I could dress up my penguins with. And so I cut two of each of the accessories so that I could color them a few different colors and decide which ones I wanted to use in the end. So you just see me doing that and drawing in between, and then I punched them all out and I adhered them together. And they're very simple to put together. So the hat has this little highlight piece, And then you put on the little bauble, and then you put the little fur edging, and then the scarf just has that top piece that makes the stripes. The bow tie has the little highlight piece, and the glasses are just glasses in and of themselves. So I put all of those together, and then I decided which ones I wanted to use on my penguins. Once I decided which accessories to put on which penguin, I used my collage medium to attach them, and then all that was left was to put the little penguins in place in my vignette box. Here we have the final make, and it is one of the 3 projects that I did have in mind when I started this video, so yay for me, I have one down. Now this is the smallest of the 3 square vignette boxes. As you saw, I covered it with watercolor distressed watercolor paper that had been sprayed with mica stain and then embossed with that pine branch embossing folder from Christmas 2022. Then once the outside was covered, I covered, of course, the inside with paper as well that I had used that resist spray on to make kind of some snow in the back. And then that's also sprayed with mica spray so you can kind of see some of that shimmer as well as the snow. And then the tree foreshadows, excuse me, we have 2 of those, and those also have the mica stain on them. And last but not least, the stars of the show. We have Walter, and Walter is dressed in his fine bow tie and Santa cap. And then I have Lillian over here, and Lillian has turned the bow tie into a hair bow, has this wonderfully coordinated glasses, and the very festive scarf that's around her shoulders. And together they're making a little snow penguin. And so the snow penguin was just cut from watercolor paper, and then I went around it with tumbled glass distress ink. I colored in, as you saw, just a little black area behind the eyes, and then pounced with my finger some of the Snowfall Grit Paste. Down here we have Snowfall Grit Paste and a little bit of Snowfall Grit Paste on the trees in the back. I went around the front with some design tape from Idea-ology Christmas a couple of years ago. I love this tiny design tape that fits perfectly on the edge of these vignette boxes. It's just such a quick way to finish them off. I hope that they keep them in the Idea-ology line. All right, well, that is it for this very quick little cute vignette. This would go perfect, maybe tucked in a bookcase between some books, or just sitting on a little shelf, maybe on the front of a desk or a counter if you have a business, something like that. Very, very cute. If you would like to make something like this, I have everything linked in the description of this video, as well as on my blog at playswellwithpaper.blogspot.com. And just a reminder that if you do want to make this, that you will need this die, the Walter die, and this is the Diecember die for 2023. And remember, in order to get this, it's exclusive to Simon Says Stamp, and you can only get it if you purchase $25 worth of Tim Holtz branded products. So that's any of the products that have the Tim Holtz brand on it. That would be Tim Holtz Sizzix dies, Tim Holtz stamps from Stampers Anonymous, Tim Holtz distress products from Reindeer, Tim Holtz tonic products, Tim Holtz fabric, Tim Holtz Idea-ology. So any of the Tim Holtz branded products, $25 or more, and this will be included in your order. All right. And remember, this is only until supplies last. And if I remember correctly, like I said at the beginning, I believe that they usually only last the first couple of weeks of December. So you'll probably not want to wait too long if you're interested in getting Walter. Well, I want to thank you so much for following along today. I always appreciate you watching my videos. And with that, I want to wish you a very creative Cyber Monday.